The Healer's Rebellion. If Katniss never volunteered Part 2. The game makers announced that 2 tributes could win if they came from the same district. Prim and Peeta understood that the capital wanted them to abandon their connection with Rue and District 11. They refused to forget her. After several more days, only Prim, Peeta, Cato, Thresh, and the boy from District 3 remained. Peeta developed a serious infection in his leg. The game makers announced a feast at the cornucopia. Each district would receive something it desperately needed. Prim knew the District 12 pack would contain medicine. She left while Peeta slept. At the feast, the boy from District 3 reached the pack first. Prim raised no weapon. "I need that medicine." The boy hesitated. He remembered that Prim had saved Nora. He handed her the pack. Before Prim could thank him, Cato attacked from behind. The boy from District 3 fell. Thresh charged toward Cato, allowing Prim to escape. The medicine saved Peeta. Soon afterward, the game makers drained the streams and forced the remaining tributes back to the cornucopia. Cato and Thresh fought beneath the metal structure. Cato mortally wounded Thresh, but Thresh used his remaining strength to throw Cato toward the creatures surrounding the cornucopia. Before he died, Thresh looked at Prim, for Rue. Cato managed to climb back onto the structure, but his leg was badly injured. Peeta recovered Cato's sword. "Do it," Cato demanded. Peeta raised the weapon. Prim stepped between them. "No, he will kill us," Peeta warned. "He cannot move." Cato laughed bitterly. "You think saving me changes anything?" Before Prim could answer, an explosion sounded inside Cato's body. The game makers had activated his tracker. Peeta stared toward the cameras. "They killed him because you refused to." Prim and Peeta were the final 2 tributes. They waited for the announcement declaring them victors. Instead, the game makers revoked the earlier rule. Only 1 victor would be allowed. Peeta placed Cato's sword on the ground. "You are going home," he told Prim. "No, I promised Katniss, and I never promised to let you die." Prim removed several poisonous berries from her pocket. She divided them between herself and Peeta. "The game makers need a winner," she said. They raised the berries toward their mouths. Across Panem, millions watched. Prim looked into the nearest camera. "These games have already taken enough." Before they could eat, the game makers restored the rule. Prim and Peeta were declared joint victors. The capital attempted to turn Prim and Peeta into a celebration. During their final interview, Caesar asked Prim why she had threatened to eat the berries. Haymitch had warned her to say that she had been confused and frightened. Prim refused. "I knew what I was doing," she said. "The capital told us that 2 people could survive. Then, it ordered us to kill each other. We chose not to." The broadcast quickly cut away. Before Prim returned home, President Snow visited her. He warned her that kindness was dangerous because it encouraged people to protect one another. He also warned that Katniss had been causing problems in District 12. "You will tell Panem that the capital showed you mercy," Snow said. "And if I do not?" Snow smiled. "Your sister failed to save you once. It would be tragic to make her fail again." When Prim returned to District 12, she found Katniss waiting at the station. The sisters ran toward each other. Later, alone in their old home, Katniss apologized again. "I should have gone instead." Prim looked at her. "Yes." Katniss lowered her head. Prim reached across the table and took her hand. "But you did not. You cannot change what happened at the reaping. You can only decide what happens next." "What happens next?" Katniss asked. Prim placed the silver flower pin sent by Nora's district on the table. "We stop waiting for one person to save everyone." During the victory tour, Prim ignored the capital's prepared speeches. In District 11, she spoke about Rue, Thresh, Nora, and the boy from District 3. "The capital says the districts are enemies," Prim said. "The people who died in the arena proved otherwise." Every person in the square raised 3 fingers. When the tour reached District 12, Prim called Katniss onto the stage. "This is my sister," she told Panem. People remember her because she did not volunteer. The square became silent. She believed one moment made her a coward. The capital wanted her to believe that because ashamed people remain quiet. Prim took Katniss's hand, but she did not remain quiet. The residents of District 12 raised 3 fingers. Prim faced the cameras. No one should have to prove love by dying. The following year, President Snow announced that the tributes for the Quarter Quell would be selected from the existing victors. Prim's name was the only name in the girls' bowl. Before Effie could select it, Katniss stepped forward. I volunteer. The officials rejected her because she was not a victor. Katniss climbed onto the stage anyway. You want a symbol? She asked the cameras. Take me. Peacekeepers surrounded her. Prim stood between Katniss and the rifles. Then the miners moved forward. Hundreds of residents crossed the barriers and surrounded the stage. Katniss looked into the camera. My sister entered your arena and chose mercy. You answered by threatening to send her back. The broadcast began to cut out. The games end today. The district erupted. Similar uprisings began across Panem. Katniss eventually became the face of the rebellion, but she did not pretend to be fearless. Her first message to the districts was simple. When my sister was chosen, I was afraid, and I failed to reach her in time. The Capitol taught us that one failure defines a person. It taught us that we are alone. Prim stood behind her, treating the wounded. They were wrong. Years later, the arena from the 74th Hunger Games was transformed into a memorial. 24 stones formed a circle, one for each tribute. No name stood above another. Prim became a physician and helped establish hospitals across Panem. Peeta opened a bakery near the District 12 hospital. Katniss helped families locate people who had disappeared during the capital's rule. One spring morning, Katniss and Prim walked beyond the old district fence. Children played in the meadow without fearing reapings or peacekeepers. Do you still think about that day? Prim asked. Every day, Katniss answered. So do I. Katniss looked at her sister. I am sorry. Prim smiled. I know. Katniss had once believed that courage belonged only to people who acted without hesitation. She now understood that real courage could come later. It could begin after failure. It could be afraid and still move forward. In another version of the story, Katniss volunteered for Prim and entered the Hunger Games. In this reality, she did not. Prim entered the arena. Peeta kept his promise. Rue connected the districts. And Katniss proved that one frightened moment did not have to define the rest of a person's life. The Capitol believed the Hunger Games proved that people would always choose survival over compassion. A 12-year-old healer proved the opposite. And that was how the games ended. Not with one victor standing over the bodies of 23 children, but with two sisters standing together and an entire nation refusing to be divided again. The end. Now the question is yours. What story would you like to see unfold differently? Share your favorite what-if idea in the comments, and it may become the next alternate reality explored on this channel.